Due to Airbus's dispersed manufacturing facilities, the company had a long-term need to transport large components, such as wings and fuselage sections, to its final assembly lines. Hence the need for a large aircraft. Construction of the first began in September 1992. The plane flew in the 13th of September 1994 and entering service in September 1995, the Beluga was a larger, faster and more efficient aircraft than its predecessor, the Super Guppy. On the 25th of January 2022, Airbus announced a service offering oversized cargo transportation using its Beluga fleet. During the 2010s, Airbus developed a slightly larger successor, the Beluga XL, based on the Airbus A330-200. This fleet, which entered service in January 2020. In January 2025, Airbus decided to end its operations at Beluga Transport. The A300-600 Saint Beluga shares many design similarities, although differing substantially in appearance to the Airbus A300. The wings, engines, landing gear, and the lower part of the fuselage remain identical to those used on the conventional A300, while the upper part of the fuselage forms an enormous horseshoe-shaped structure. In comparison with the Super Guppy, the payload was more than doubled and the volume increased by more than 30%. The General Electric turbofan engines used are slightly uprated from those used on the standard A300 as well. The vertical stabilizer uses a modified A340 base extension while the tailplane was strengthened and fitted with auxiliary fins to maintain directional stability. The tailplane trim tank was also deleted to provide access to the cargo area from the front without having to disconnect all electrical, hydraulic and flight control connections. The standard A300 cockpit was relocated down below the cargo floor level. By relocating the cockpit in this manner, loading times were halved from those typically achieved with the Super Guppy, which had needed to disconnect and reconnect such systems. Another reason for faster loading times was the adoption of a roll-on, roll-off loading system, as well as the ability to unload the aircraft in winds of up to 40 knots. The qualities and improved capabilities of the Beluga resulted in the costs associated with transporting Airbus components dropping to one-third of those being incurred operating the Super Guppy. The cockpit of the Beluga is pressurized but the cargo deck is not, making it inaccessible during flight and unsuitable for cargoes that require a pressurized environment, such as live animals. However, the cargo deck is fitted with a heating module to keep the cargo within an appropriate temperature range. The main deck cargo volume of the Beluga is greater than that the Antonov An-124, but still smaller than Antonov An-225. However, it is restricted by cargo weight capacity of 47 tons, compared to 122.5 tons for the C-5 Galaxy and 150 tons for the AN-124. Despite of this width, the Beluga cannot carry most fuselage parts of the Airbus A380, which are instead normally transported by ship and road. Nevertheless, some A380 components have been transported by Belugas.